Say good morning. Welcome to Shop Talk. We're in the Carson Mall at Bridger Mountain Boutique, and I'm very honored to have Lacy J. Dalton in the studio this morning. How are you?
Oh, Colleen, I'm great, and I'm so happy to be here. And when I hear about all the charity work that you do from this shop, I'm so pleased that this is what I like to call a center of light for our area.
Thank you. And you do as well. In fact, you have a foundation called Let 'Em Run. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Let 'Em Run is the worst name for a foundation in the world.
Oh.
I wrote a song called Let 'Em Run to help the horse advocates, the wild horse advocates here. I moved to Nevada because I love the wild horses. And when I got here, and I'd only been here a couple of months, I realized that our wild horses are in terrible trouble. The Federal Bureau of Land Management wants to remove as many as possible. Our Department of Agriculture here in Nevada wants to remove as many as possible. And you'd think, well, maybe they put them in a safe place, maybe it's good, but there are a lot of problems with what happens to the horses when they're removed, particularly with the Nevada Department of Agriculture. Horses that are removed are said that they're deemed to be feral horses, and they are sent to auction, which doesn't sound like a bad thing. You think, well, people are probably there, they'll probably adopt them. You know, they'll probably pick up these horses because they're inexpensive and they're beautiful. That's not what happens. Killer buyers go to these auctions, and they buy these horses, sometimes mothers with little babies by their side, and those horses end up going to Canada or Mexico to be processed into food and to be served on the dinner plates of people in foreign nations. And there are a lot of foreign nations that eat horse meat. And the popularity of filet of foal, which is baby horse, is growing rapidly throughout the world. So these horses that you see in your backyard today may not be there tomorrow. And they may be on somebody's dinner plate in France or Belgium or Korea or China. And, you know, I moved here because I think that the wild horse is a symbol of everything free and wonderful and wild about our heritage of the American West. I think they are one of the ultimate symbols of our heritage. And I think I have a friend who started Blue Highway TV. And he said to me, he also started country music television. His name is Stan Hitchcock, and he said, Lacy, it is my opinion that the greatest and most important export that the United States has to the rest of the world is our Western heritage. And that, to me, certainly includes the wild horses. So I'm always happy to talk about them. I wish I'd named my foundation. I have a friend who has a fabulous foundation for wild horses. It's called Wild Horses in Need, and their acronym is WIN.
Oh, that's
so,
perfect.
I mean, I just think that's great. She's out of Southern California and has rescued many, many horses and has a wonderful no-kill shelter, one of the very best in the country. It's only been operating for 2 years. Truly no-kill. The dogs come in there with cancer. They're treated for their cancer, and they're really successful with their cancer treatments for these dogs. It's amazing. And then they're adopted to people who want a special needs dog. So that's called Spark. That's the Santa Paula Animal Rescue Clinic, and that's a really good one. She's better with names. Let 'Em Run came from a song. And I hear people say, oh, I love your foundation, let it run. That sounds like a toilet that's not working properly to me. So, but it is Let 'Em Run, LETEMRUN Foundation.
When I think of Let 'em Run, I picture horses that are on your CD. They are like clouds, and they're just running wild with their manes and their tails going. I think that's, I think it's an appropriate name. I don't know.
As long as people get it right, I think it is.
Exactly.
This painting, and I don't know, I think we better peel this so people can see it, because it's probably reflecting. This is a painting, and I don't know if we can get a close-up of this or not, that was donated to us by Steve Saylor, who is a local artist. Do you know Steve?
I do.
He's such a great, he did a lot of paintings called Celebrity Train that raised money for the V&T Railroad, which is runs from Carson City or Nevada, or from Virginia City down to Carson now.
Right.
Or Mound House anyway. I know they have intentions to bring it into Carson, and I think that is a fabulous project, and I'm so excited that they finally got it. This was, this painting represents about 10, 12 years ago, about 40 of our horses were shot and tortured up in the Virginia Highlands, and this represents the spirits of those horses, freed and crossing over into the light. This CD,
when that happened.
do you remember?
I do. It was so sad.
Well, it's still happening. We just a few months ago had some idiot in, and that's the nicest thing I can call the person who shot our horse Railroad Man, a wild horse that everybody loved, shot him through the eye, then gut shot him. He still wasn't dead, so they slit his throat, and they killed another horse similarly. This was just a few months ago. This is why Let 'em Run Foundation, I am always talking about sanctuary for these horses. Now, in the best of all possible worlds, wild horses should run free on the public lands. However, when they're on the public lands, there is, of course, a lot of demand for public lands, from cattlemen, from wildlife people, and there has been a predominant myth for many, many years, and it's very strong here in Nevada, that horses are not native. The new science is completely, actually this area, the Great Basin, was the cradle of civilization for horses all over the world. But there was a die-off. At least we believe that all the horses died off. So when Columbus reintroduced horses, that's when we think horses came back to the United States. But interestingly enough, the Lakota people, who are in North and South Dakota, the Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota people, have in their oral tradition 2 different words for their horses, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of which were shot by our cavalry, and the horses that were the Spanish horses, which were a bigger horse and very different kind of horse. So perhaps they didn't all die out, and that will come to light, and I'm asking all the time that Spirit reveal that truth to us, because then we won't have these people saying, these horses aren't native, they're bad for the land. Fact is, I don't even want to fight that battle. We had to put our elk in a sanctuary in Jackson Hole, some of them. We had to put our grizzly bears and our buffalo on Yellowstone Park to save them. We should have, I think, kept our wolves on Yellowstone Park and somehow kept them in Yellowstone Park, because they are raising havoc, I guess, with the ranchers up in Montana. But I think we need all of these creatures. These were creatures that came with this package of Earth. They are really, as the Native people believe, these are our brothers and sisters. And they're also like a canary in a coal mine. Do you know why they took canaries into coal mines?
Because they would die if the air wasn't good.
That's right.
Something like that.
That's exactly right. They take them down in cages, and if the canary died, the miners knew, and this is, of course, is a mining state, and this happened all the time here. Miners knew that there were poisonous gases that would kill the miners. So the canary was a very valuable friend, even though he had to make the great sacrifice. Our animal brothers and sisters and plants will tell us when we are fouling our nest to the point where we can't live in it anymore. And we are completely interdependent with everything on this earth. I don't know how it is that we get the feeling that we are separate and superior to everything else on this earth, and how we can overpopulate this earth and toxify it and pour our poisons into the ocean and put radioactive waste in barrels that will deteriorate in 100 years, and the radioactive waste is thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. And these are the kinds of things I am a conservationist. My father was a conservationist. He was not like me. My father was a guide on a hunting preserve. He was an NRA member his whole life. Made his own bullets. He made his own arrows. He was an expert marksman. He was a master archer. And he taught me from the time I was a little kid to respect the earth, to take care of the earth, to be conscious. If I had ever thrown anything into one of the creeks back home in Pennsylvania, like a candy wrapper, I would have had to go in that creek, no matter how cold it was, and retrieve that thing and bring it back to him. He was absolutely, he was very, very strict about that. And so I was raised. My mother and father were very, very, very conscious of what we were doing to the earth. And so I love the earth and all things of the earth. And the Let 'Em Run Foundation was founded in about 2000. Well, actually, I think about 1998 when I really realized that, just after that the horses were in terrible trouble.
And this is a compilation of songs. Some are yours, some are from the Comstock Cowboys, and tell me who else is on here.
There were so many people who helped with this. This is a wonderful CD that was produced, and every artist gave 100% of their time and talents, including the publishing of their songs, which were their own songs that they'd written, to this project. And 100% of this project, besides the couple dollars we need to make it, goes to the Wild Horses, to any of the groups that want to sell it, or to my group, Let 'Em Run. And we're all volunteer, nobody takes any money, and all the money goes out to help our wild horses, and our thrust is toward eco-sanctuaries.
And how can they reach you to purchase a copy of this, or find out more about how they can volunteer for your foundation?
Thank you for asking, Colleen. And this CD, by the way, has John Tyson and Bean Souza. Was produced by Stephen Earl Swinford. Bruce Knowlton is on here. Richard Aloyan, Robert Dees, David John and the Comstock Cowboys. This is a perfect project. It's a perfect project because everybody who did it cared. If you want this, you can go to letemrun.com, and if you forget that, which is easy to forget, you might write Let It Run. You can go to lacyjdalton.com. That's L-A-C-Y. There's no E in Lacy. And we'll get you one of these or any of the other music that I make, which is, sort of not always about wild horses.
That's awesome. We'll also have copies at Bridger Mountain Boutique inside the Carson Mall, so stop in. You can pick one up here. And we'll remind you of Let 'Em Run and Lacy J. Dalton's websites so they can learn more about you. And that brings us to your newest release.
Thank you, Colleen. This is a CD that we made. This is normally I write most of my songs, but I heard a song that, in fact, Dale Panay, who's going to be on a future show here, turned me on to a song. I was listening to him practice one day. He was working with a friend of his to do a song for a wedding, and he sang a song called Next to Me. And it just blew my mind. It is a male-affirming lyric, which we don't hear. We always hear, you got 5 minutes to get back here, I'm going to break your leg. And I always write these songs about, oh, you bad boy, you've really done, why do I fall for these crazy blue eyes, and many more like that. But this is a song that actually talks about a committed relationship with a man. You will find him, you will find him. You won't find him drinking at the table. You won't find him staying out and gambling until 3. You will never find him be unfaithful. You will find him. You will find him next to me. And it's just a beautiful sentiment. When I heard the sentiment, I thought, I've never heard that in a song before. It's so male-affirming. I think men need to be men who are faithful, and it isn't easy. I think testosterone is a dangerous drug. But the men who make that kind of commitment and can actually keep it, I have an immense respect for. And this song is really about someone like that, and about a woman who can command that kind of respect. So I really love it. It was written by Emily Sandé, who is I believe she's Scottish. She has had 43 million hits on this same song on the internet in pop music, which I made this in what we call the Americana style, which is more country folkish. And I'm just very proud of it. I did it with my own band. It was produced by my guitar player, Jimmy Jackson, and I hope you guys will get to hear this.
Sweet. Oh, you talked about the gentleman who plays with the Comstock Cowboys, David John.
David John sort of is the face of the Comstock Cowboys, and he's one of my dear friends. He is, I called him just 2 days ago. I said, David, the wild horses were having a crisis. We need to raise a bunch of money. Will you help me? He said, yes. I said, will you help me for free? He said, yes. And I said, good, we're going to have a fabulous event. We're actually going to have two, I hope. And the second one I hope to get underwritten for the bands, because the bands are constantly being asked to do free things. I know the last 7 shows I've done have been for free.
Oh,
and that's okay for charity.
Yeah.
And I like to do that, but we also have to make a living. And so I'm going to try to get the second show underwritten, and the first one, David John and the Comstock Cowboys, his band, are going to donate their time. And we can talk about that if it's appropriate.
I would love to talk about that. It's August 23rd at Silverland in Virginia City.
Yes, it's up at the Silverland Hotel in Virginia City, and we're going to have all kinds of booths up there. The horse groups will have booths. I'm going to try to get the horse groups to do some demonstrations. We have one group, LRTC, which is a local group here, who do approximately 3 large animal rescues for the state every week. It's a huge commitment. I mean, they're pulling horses. People, somehow they ride their horses into Lake Lahontan. The horse sinks into the mud. His head is sticking out, and they call him Willis and Sharon Lamb and Betty Retzer and some of the folks that are involved with them. They have got equipment. They've had special training, and they will go out and rescue your horse. They had, right after they formed, just when they were learning how to really do it, and they didn't have much to learn because Willis, who's the head of that organization, was a fire chief over in Contra Costa County for most of his life. He was the information officer for the Contra Costa County Fire Department, and also a hands-on fireman, so he knew a lot to start with. But they've had special training, and if anybody out there who is listening is interested in helping with that group, that is a wonderful, they would write Willis, W-I-L-L-I-S, at kbrhorse.net. That's Willis at K as in Ku Klux Klan, B as in boy, R as in renegade, kbrhorse.net. And they can, if you're an ex-fireman and you're sitting around on the couch driving your wife crazy and she wants to get you out of the house.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, anybody, women and men, they are going to do another training soon, and if you do contact Willis through that kbrhorse.net, he will tell you when that training will be.
Oh, that's right.
And, you can help. But the first thing that happened to them was they had like a cattle truck with like 20 or 30 cows. And there were cows like popcorn all over the highway, and they had to go out on Highway 50 and clean this mess up, get these animals saved that could be saved, and get that traffic cleared away, because that's a very major traffic area. And so I'm hoping that they'll do a demonstration for us August 23rd. I haven't found out for sure about that one yet, but I am working on it. And we may have some horses up there that can be adopted. We have a lot of beautiful wild horses, and some of them have been gentled, and we have babies that are so cute. You can take them as a baby and work with them yourself. And we found that the wild horses, Colleen, have you ever been around them?
I owned a house in North Carson City. We were the first house up there, and we used to sit on the front doorstep and watch the wild horses. Of course, it's all pavement up there now, and they've moved further back, but they're just amazing. And especially when they have the babies with them, the little foals, they're just so beautiful.
I don't know how many you have, but I used to have 30 or 40 come through my yard every day. They don't do that anymore. So many have been removed. But because of the generosity of Tahoe Reno Industrial, which is the largest industrial park in the world, it is out on 80, And because of Roger Norman, who is the owner, and Lance Gilman, and Susan Austin, the largest herd of wild horses in the country, arguably.
Oh my gosh.
There are about 2,000 of them that are allowed to be on the 102,000 acres
Oh, I love that.
of the Tahoe Reno Industrial, plus the about 37,000 acres of the Virginia Range up where I live. The people like the wild horses,
Absolutely.
so we encourage them to be there. But we really are looking to do sanctuaries. There are several projects happening. There's one out on 395 called Wynema Ranch. You can go look at that one, and they always need donations. Right now they need 300 fence posts and some wire to put up because they've got their front pasture is seeded, it's coming up, and they want to separate it into 3 places so they can rotate the horses on the. They have 100 horses. Hidden Valley Wild Horse Rescue has they have 100 horses there that they rescued, and 100 horses over in Washoe Valley, which I don't believe is you can't go see them, but you can see them at Wynema. And WynemaRanch.com has a website. You can go to the website and look at all these horses and babies and see how they're doing.
And you're talking about staggering numbers. I mean, 100, 2,000.
Our Department of Agriculture has taken so many horses off. As we encroach on their lands more and more, they're being forced up onto the Virginia Range, up near Tahoe Reno Industrial. In fact, that's one of the places they like to stay. Fortunately, they are welcome there. They are welcome on the 37,000 acres of the Virginia Highlands. At least they're welcome everywhere, but we like to keep them back out of where the populated areas are, because though most of us like them up there, they will poop on your driveway and they will eat your shrubs, and that's not a popular thing. So, and Nevada is a unique place. It's a fence-out state. So we say, if you don't like the horses, if you're the one person in your neighborhood who doesn't like wild horses, please obey the law. Please fence them out. If you don't have the money, call the horse groups and say, I really don't want these horses in my front yard. Is there anything you people can do to come over and put up a fence? I don't mind the horses being here. I just don't want them pooping in my driveway.
Right.
And I don't want them eating my expensive shrubs. And guess what? Some people come here and actually have lawns, which I think is nuts. I came here, I had acres of lawn in Nashville when I was there recording. I mean, I had probably 10 acres of lawn. And all we did was ride the riding mower. Every weekend was spent taking care of the lawn. I moved to Nevada because I never want a lawn again. I'm good with rocks. A few little plants around the house, and that's hard to do up where I live because the squirrels eat everything.
That's right.
But when people put in these expensive plantings and landscapings, it's very expensive. It's expensive to put them in. It's extraordinarily expensive for the water, to water them. I don't encourage it if you move here. If you're from San Jose and you move to the desert, do some nice, what do they call it? Terra? It's got a word. They use rock and dried
I can't
stuff.
remember the word.
There is a term for it, terrascaping or something like that, or xeriscaping is what it's.
Xeriscaping.
Yeah, xeriscaping.
Right.
I encourage all y'all out there, if you move from a populated area up here in the desert, water is becoming more and more of an issue. And I would say that xeriscaping is the way to go. I do it. I like it. I still have some plants. But I found the ones that actually I've encouraged. I have a beautiful rabbit brush in front of my house. It looks like a shrub.
Right.
And it's a natural plant that nothing needs. As far as I can tell, nothing needs rabbit brush.
Or if they have to have acres of something green, they could grow hay. The horses could come and mow it down for them.
It's funny because some over by the airport, there is a ranch that does that. They have the horses come in and eat the weeds. They just kind of open it up and let the horses come in and eat it down.
That's perfect.
But they have a big lot, and the horses do a good job. And then when it's eaten away, they leave, and they leave. Horses have a very short digestive system. They're unlike cattle. So seeds that they eat stay whole in their offal. When that breaks down, it recedes. So horses horses oddly are one of the few ungulates that can be nourished by the dried grasses in the desert. So they cut great swaths in the cheatgrass up on the Virginia Range and help us control wildfire. Horses have a place here. They have earned their place. Most of the horses in our Virginia Range are horses that were turned out by the settlers in the winter because they, back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, hay was $700 a ton in gold or silver coin only. They wouldn't even take a check. They wouldn't take any paper money.
Gosh.
And people didn't have it.
Right.
So Mark Twain tells a story about looking out over the hills and seeing hundreds of corpses of horses that didn't make it because the snows are very deep up there some years. And but the ones that did make it interbred with the wild horses migrating through. And we have a very tough, very fine-looking horse on the Virginia range that we're very proud of. And those horses pulled our wagons. They developed Virginia City. They helped develop the mines up there. These are the descendants of horses that brought us here and allowed us to develop our area. And I have a great appreciation for that. And I think that many people around the world, if we have one place now here somewhere around I'd like to have it around Reno because it's a big population center, one place where tourists can come and interact with these horses in a non-invasive way like we do with the grizzly bears, hopefully, in Yellowstone Park, where we can view these horses and see them in the real West, the way they really are. We are going to have a tremendous draw from all over the world to expose our Western heritage, and I'm so pleased with there's a sanctuary that they're hoping to have up on the Virginia range. There's a new group, Dr. Pat Coletti is heading it up. Lance Gilman from Tahoe Reno Industrial is totally for it. A lot of the merchants up in Virginia City are for it because of the tourism.
Sure.
If we get that to happen, we're going to have a jewel of ecotourism right here in our area that will draw people into your shop, into the shops in Virginia City, to the casinos.
Right.
And I think this is an enormously important project, and I'm very much behind it.
And what's the name of the project again?
Virginia Range Wild Horse Sanctuary Project.
Okay. And they can find more about that on your website, or?
They can find, that will be, I don't know that they have their website up. They're relatively new. But they're moving forward at great strides, and the whole community's really for that up there. And I think it's something that we very much need, because we're losing arterial blood to the casinos down, over the mountain, down on the other side of 80. People don't have to come up over our snowy mountain in the winter anymore to gamble. They can go 50 miles and gamble.
Exactly.
So we need reasons for people. We need ecotourism is the thrust, allegedly, of our tourism in the state, although they've been slow to think that this is a good idea. I think this is the best idea. I promote this idea all the time. I'm so grateful to be on your show, to be able to have the soapbox to stand on and talk about it.
And we didn't even get to talk about Lacy today. She's just such a generous person. I listened to several of your songs. I've memorized words to many of them. That the boys on 16th Avenue and the soldier, the song about the look in their eyes.
Oh, you can tell an old soldier by the look in his eyes.
That's right.
That's on an old CD. I'm surprised you were able to find that one.
Well, I have a few in my repertoire of the CDs. I've been a real country western fan, and my family buys the CDs for me and for Christmas and everything. And I have a couple of your old ones.
Well,
they're just fabulous.
I'm so happy, and I hope you'll enjoy the new ones as well.
Will. Definitely will.
We have. I'm now independent. And I always joke about this and say I'm now an independent artist, which is why most of y'all think I'm dead. Because I no longer have that huge promotional thing from a record company behind me. And I haven't quite mastered the social media. I'm sort of a dinosaur that way. That's how records get, that's how songs get out now.
But you have several new songs that you'd like to put out there, don't you?
I do. I have 3 independent CDs, which means they're not with big record companies. One is this one for the Wild Horses. One is called, this new one is just a single song. but I have 17 new songs I want to record on the strength, hopefully, of that.
Right.
And I have a CD called Last Wild Place Anthology, which I believe is the best work I've ever done, that I recorded first in 2004, and then in 2007, I believe, we added 6 or 7 of the old hits to it, done with my band, but not so different from the way we first did them. I have a problem if you have a song that's a hit, and you do it terribly differently from how you did it when it was recorded. People are sometimes disappointed. Sometimes they're thrilled. But I have a tendency to want to make whatever improvements I think I can. I always want to make things better, but I don't necessarily want to make them terribly different. So the songs 16th Avenue and Black Coffee and Little Boy Blue and Everybody Makes Mistakes and Taking It Easy and some of those huge worldwide hits are not so different on the independent CD, just played by my own musicians, my own way. So we're so happy with those, and we also have a CD called Here's to Hank that is a tribute to the great Hank Williams Sr.
That's awesome. We're going to wrap it up here this morning, and I'd like Lacy to tell us one more time how they can reach your foundation and you yourself.
Thank you, Colleen. If you want to reach the foundation, it's called Let 'Em Run, LETEMRUN.com. That's LETEM run, RUN.com. If you want to reach me, I'm at LacyJDalton.com. No E in Lacy. LacyJDalton.com.
Thank you, Lacy.
Thank you, Colleen.
Oh, I appreciate your being here.
Thank you.
And what you're doing. This is amazing. Good morning, I'm Colleen Hillman. I'm at Shop Talk this morning, and we're at Bridger Mountain Boutique inside the Carson Mall with Rick Parr, General Manager of the Reno Aces.
And it's good to be here. Thank you for having me on.
And when I say Reno Aces baseball team, you tell me that it's not just a baseball team.
No, it's not. And you know, the interesting thing is we talked about, well, what are you guys? And it's like, we're AAA baseball, which is the highest level you can get unless you play at the major league level. And, you know, the other thing is that people want to know, well, you know, what's so big league about your ballpark? It's not so much that we're big league, but we have big league players there. But we're a member and a proud member of the Pacific Coast League, which has been around for about 100 years. And a lot of your greatest players ever were a member of the Pacific Coast League. So when you do that, you're kind of special. So we feel special about it.
And you did name a few of those players this morning.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of the great players that have played, like Joe DiMaggio. You know, he was a member of the Pacific Coast League. And trust me, you're going to see a lot of these guys coming up with the Diamondbacks very soon. Chris Owens is fighting for a starting job at shortstop, and wouldn't surprise me if he becomes a starting shortstop for the Diamondbacks this year. And he just played in our All-Star game last year, and again was just a superior player for us on our team last season. And he's already with the Diamondbacks. Pretty cool.
He was the player of the year last year?
Well, he was actually an all-star player for us. And, you know, MVP of the PCL. So I think that's pretty special.
That's very special.
You bet.
And your ballpark is located in Reno, Nevada. And can you tell us how to get there?
It's easy. Just go downtown. Any of the exits, if you go down to 2nd Street and Evans and Just find 2nd Street in Evans, or just go right downtown, and you'll see all the activity. You'll see the lights of the stadium, and very easy to find, very easy if you're coming from Carson City. I don't care what city you're coming from, but if you're driving in town, it is so easy to get to that as soon as you get to, actually I'd say the Grand Sierra off the freeway, then you're close. So be looking.
You can hear the roar.
You bet you can.
And you'll have a kickoff game April 1st against UNR?
Against the Nevada Wolfpack. I always call them the Wolfpack. It's Wolfpack baseball. Jay Johnson is the new head coach there. Outstanding recruiter, by the way. And we have always made it a point of interest to, when we supported the community, or at least attempt to support the community, is to do some fundraising events, and one of them is the Wolfpack baseball game. And we're going to do that on April 1st, which is a Tuesday night at 6:05 p.m. And it's going to showcase our athletes for the first time, all the the guys that come in from spring training, who we're going to have on our team, and every pitcher will get a chance to pitch. We don't put one pitcher in the ball game. We put all of our pitchers in for the entire game, and you're going to see how good the Wolfpack plays against the professional athletes. Now, I can tell you this, it's kind of interesting that 2 years ago the Wolfpack beat us, which is not supposed to happen. But I tell anybody, when you play a team and it's one of the first games you ever play, you may not be as good as team as like the Wolfpack, who plays for the entire year. But they beat us, and then we went on to win a national championship. So I don't know what that tells you, other than that the competition is going to be fabulous and you need to be there. Yeah, and that's April 1st, and that's going to be 6:05 p.m.
And you'll have Archie and
Wolfie. Right.
And the UNR cheerleaders.
We'll have the cheerleaders there. We're going to have...
Lots of fun.
Listen, it's the first time that we light up the ballpark. And the great thing is you get to try our new concession items that we have, which I'm already salivating over because I love concession items.
Oh, there you go.
And it's just a major portion of what we do. And, you'll see all the new employees with the new shirts on and the new hats. And, man, we're going to be in game mode. And that's the first time we hook it up, turn on the lights, and play ball. So it's going to be exciting time.
I have your schedule in my hand. And your
Yes.
first regular season game starts on the 3rd. Is that correct?
It'll be on the 3rd, and it'll be against a brand new team, which is going to be the El Paso Chihuahuas.
Oh.
And everybody will laugh a little bit about
great.
their name, the Chihuahuas, but if you think about it, I think that they named it the Fighting Chihuahuas.
There you
And
go.
they are affiliated with the San Diego Padres.
Oh.
And again, you just have to understand that they were in Tucson last year because they were getting the stadium ready for this year. And so we play them right out of the chute. I'd love to beat a San Diego Padre team.
Oh, that'd be
So
great.
I don't care if they're the Chihuahuas or whatever they are. It doesn't matter to me. Let's beat them up.
And then you have a lineup of 72 games?
72 games, actually 73 with the exhibition game. So, you're talking about, man, I would tell you that half of the month is baseball games and half we have on travel. But if you look at the schedule, the schedule is jam-packed with all kinds of promotions and different things that we're going to do. But this one's going to be a special year because, we talked about it even preceding this, about a new manager. And, of course, we made a managerial change. So we're excited
And
about it.
who is your new manager?
Well, our
Tell
new manager is a great guy. His name is Phil Nevin. And actually, you had mentioned it. I mean, what team did he play for? Come on.
Well, the Padres.
And?
And the Diamondbacks.
Well, he played.
Oh,
he
yeah.
actually played for the Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah,
That's
and,
right.
and he was in the Detroit Farm
I had
Club.
it right at one point.
You did. I think you just kind of panicked there. For
I
a moment.
panicked. A question out of the box.
But he's a big guy. He's when you see him and you pat him on the back, you're going to say
You said he wouldn't fit in this
he wouldn't fit in that
jersey.
52. He's going to need at least a 54 or bigger. But he's a big guy. He was a home run hitter, and it even he told me about the first time that he was playing in San Diego, and this is at Petco Park the first day. So he gets up to bat, and this is the story. I'll make it short, but he hits a towering shot out to right field. Well, they made Petco Park, the deepest part of the park is in right field, and I mean he thought this is an easy home run, and the guy catches it at the wall. I forget who they're playing. And so what he does, he turns and looks at the owner's box, and he takes his hands and points to the owner's box, like, don't do that to me. And I can't believe you made that wall that far. I hit a blast and it didn't go out. That's your problem, not mine. And but he's a likable guy, great guy. And when you meet him, you'll say, I'm glad I met Phil Nevin.
Oh,
that's a cool deal.
And anyone that you recruited this year for the team? That's exciting.
Well, I do want to say this. I'm glad that everybody says, well, how come Phil is your new manager? But Brett Butler moved on to the big leagues, and I want to make sure that we give him his due.
There you go.
He was a great manager for 5 years, and I'm telling you, he was great with the community, and you couldn't ask for a better manager. The guy was phenomenal, and I'm very happy he's with the Miami Marlins now, and he is going to do a great job. And I talked to him, and he says he loves it, so that's good. So Brett's A-OK. And the jersey behind us, I don't know if you can zoom in on the signature. If you take a look at the smiley face, then you know it's Brett Butler's signature, because he always puts a smiley face on his signature.
Oh,
so just thought I would point that out as our decor for this particular show. But a lot of exciting things happen.
You said the word community.
Yes.
What do the Aces do for the community?
We're excited about, especially this year, besides offering great quality of life entertainment, but the community aspect, we're tied into the community in a big way, and we're going to even get more aggressive. We do things with JDRF, diabetes, and we do things with Northern Nevada, the food bank. We do things with Camp Lots of Fun. We do things with, we're going to do a 5K race this year. But what we're doing is we're really getting deep into the community. We're going to do our Wolfpack exhibition game, but we're also going to do another game where the Wolfpack will play at our stadium and not at their stadium. So what we're attempting to do is to get so deeply rooted into the community that the community says, man, we can't live without these guys.
That's right.
And to be honest with you, it's a give back for us. And if you've got an organization, and I'm going to say this, if you've got an organization that has manpower and that can put on an event, then we're willing to talk to you, because we can't do the manpower, but we do have an event stadium that is just solid as gold. And we might be able to merge and do a lot of great things. So if anybody's interested, I would say, come on. We're interested right away.
That's an amazing invitation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But this whole year is just full of different excitement and things to go. So we're excited about it.
And then on your website, I was perusing that this last week. You have a lot of promotions at each game.
Oh, we do.
That just sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, let's just kind of go down the list. For opening week, we've got, we're going to do our little beer specials for our opening night. And that's cool, but I can tell you we never ever did that before. But we're trying to do Thirsty Thursdays, and then do our beer specials for the night. And that way, if you come in, then maybe beer's not what you're looking for, but maybe at $2 a beer, that's a pretty good deal. So I'd take advantage of that if you're a beer drinker. If you're not, don't worry about it. We always have some other things going on, but let's think about some of the other things. We have Fireworks Fridays on Friday nights. You're going to get to see Archie. You're going to have a great time, and it's a family deal. And so be prepared. We still have 6:30 game time starts, which I think are extremely important. But Saturday is going to be our first giveaway, and I believe the first one is the magnetic schedule. We're going to be giving that away, and we have a fleece blanket night as well. But then we go to Sunday, and I can tell you we're going to play, bring your kids, and bring them an hour before the gates open. Okay, that's going to be the key. And you'll get to come out onto the field and play catch with the players and get the autographs of the players. And it's going to be a family fun day. And I just got to tell you, that's going to be absolutely our first day game, and going to be big. I mean big. So we are going to have a ball for the first opening homestand against the Chihuahuas. And we're going to smear them like we should. And hopefully they don't have too good of a team. but we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And maybe some of the other amenities that we haven't mentioned. Don't forget, we have Kids Corner. We've got the Coors Light Party Zone, which is in left field, and that's all about barbecue. And we've got this big barbecue train that'll hold 2,000 pounds of meat to barbecue, and we'll have that thing smoking and going and blowing and going for that first homestand. So it's going to be fun, delicious, exciting. Chili cheese dogs, Polish sausages. I mean, I'm getting hungry thinking about it.
And it's lunchtime.
Oh, I know, this is scary. But, you've got to have great food. Levy Restaurants, I'm proud to say, is who does the food for us. And I got to mention, they do a fantastic job. And not only that, but you may want to spend a party and go to our suites and things like that. Please go online. And if you're looking for tickets, go online. RenoAces.com. It's very easy to get to. Navigate the website. We have all the great news on there. Find out about the players, different things that we have cooking. But this is a banner year for us. We know it. And, I think we can break a few records.
I've also seen you on Twitter and Facebook.
Yes.
You're everywhere.
Well, we try to be, Twitter's getting more and more popular every day. I don't understand why. Because you really have to follow Twitter to be part of it. But Facebook, I understand why Facebook is popular, because you get to park yourself into that and really get into what people are talking about. But if you do both, you're going to catch all the great offers and the good ideas plus the good offers. So make sure your head's up on that. And if you haven't purchased a ticket, we had our on sale just recently. So that means that you can buy whichever game you want. And buy them in advance. Trust me, you'll want to do that.
I might have to watch the Chihuahuas.
You better come out for the Fighting Chihuahuas, and we're not going to have any of their paraphernalia, but that's okay.
Oh, a company relocating to this area, is that something that you would entice them to do? Because we have baseball here? Is that a question they ask?
They do. It's one of the number one questions that all the big businessmen ask, and they say, hey, listen, if we're going to relocate our business here, what's the advantage of coming to Reno versus some other city? And we tell them that, the first two questions are, what are the schools you have? And sometimes they say, what are the private schools you have? And then the second thing is, do you have any professional sports? And of course, then Reno Aces baseball comes into it. They go, oh, great, AAA baseball, man, that's awesome. And so they get into that. But think about the amenities that we have in the Reno Tahoe area, which includes Carson City, which includes all the surrounding areas that we have. It even includes California, to Sacramento, just down the street. But I think it's the greatest place on earth, because you have the mountains, you have hiking, biking, we have restaurants, we've got everything, and you have a ballpark downtown. Are you kidding me? I died and went to heaven. This is unbelievable. And so, we can take care of your family, and they want to know that. And they want to know that's important to these businesses. So we do. Not only do we take part in the community, but we attract businesses that come to town because we are who we are. We're a professional baseball team. So it's a big part of what we do.
Just fun to watch.
Absolutely. And I want to make one other point. Quality of life. I'm going to point right at you. Quality of life. And I'm going to put it this way. If you have kids, we are your place. If you have relatives you don't like, now listen to me. You better bring them into town. You don't even have to talk to them. Just bring them to the game, and we'll do whatever it takes to make them happy, and then they'll think you're the greatest person in the world to bring them to a great ballpark. But all I can tell you is quality of life is big with us, and we take grandparents love us because they can take their grandsons and granddaughters. They can be with their parents, the daughters and sons can, and the grandparents can see their sons and daughters, and everybody likes it. Listen, if you're going out for a date, great, safe place to go, especially for the girl, because she knows there's enough people around and she can get to know the guy. And they can chat at the drink rails or wherever they want to go. We have restaurants. We got it all. And it's just right here in our own backyard, downtown Reno. It's exciting. It really is.
And you have a core of fans that just love you.
we do. We have rabid fans too.
Rabid fans, yes.
But we do because they followed us and they've really come to enjoy AAA baseball at the best because they know how good it is. And you know what's the greatest thing on earth is to watch our guys go to the major leagues and play for the Diamondbacks. I get the biggest kick out of that. Patrick Corbin, you know, Josh Colementor. There's so many of them that are now playing for the Diamondbacks that when I turn on the TV and watch Diamondbacks game, I just get excited about it because now I know that guy personally. That's cool. I got his autograph.
That's right.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
worked with him.
You bet. And that's part of the fun is getting the autographs, taking photos. So we're going to have a great time this year.
Well, thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for the time.
And if people want to reach you, once again, let's go through how they can find
I would say,
Reno Aces.
yeah, go on the website because that'll even give you our telephone number. So go to renoaces.com. Very easy to find us. Navigate our website, and you'll get all the information that you ever wanted about Reno Aces baseball. So we're looking forward to having all kinds of people down there this year and break an attendance record.
That'll be awesome. I'll be there.
Well, good. We will see you there. And thank you for the time. I mean,
you.
This song's called All I Need.
Won't go looking for nothing, 'cause I have all I need. A pretty little lady, but not enough money. But what does that mean? What does that mean? I'm doing just fine. Got the good Lord on my side, and He won't let me fall without a hand to hold. Won't go wishing for nothing, 'cause I have a pretty little house in a quiet valley. And the good Lord, He has blessed me with the rivers and the streams and the wind and the trees. Looking for nothing, 'cause I have all I need. Pretty little lady, but not enough money. What does that mean? What does that mean? Don't go looking for nothing, for fear of what you'll find. Oh, they told you your whole life, don't close your eyes, that's alright. That's alright. That's alright.
This song's called Memories.
As I sit and watch the night sky, all those bright white flashing lights, there comes to mind you and I traveling east, strong as the tide. But some unseen force pushed us in the opposite direction that we had planned. I guess life does that sometimes, but that's alright, that's alright, that's alright. 'Cause I tread beneath the sunset sky, I can't help but think of all the times that you and I spent out west. All of the memories I want to relive, but time won't let me go back. So I'll just turn my back to the past, to the past. Keep on walking in the direction of the breeze, away from the sea. Somebody once told me that I'll go far if I follow my dreams, listen to my heart. And I've been staying true to that so far, so far. Sit beneath the summer sky, can you help yourself? Think of all the times that you and I spent out west. All of the memories we'll never relive, 'cause time won't let no one go back. So we'll just turn our backs to the past, to the past. The more I live, the more I learn, the less I know.